heart and you still actually teach at Algonquin. Is that part of what keeps you going in this industry, or was it the interest in the industry first and then teaching came after?
I think there's a preference that I have. Like if I had to pick one of my personal traits to keep and I had to throw one away, two on the table were my ability to communicate, to share information, experiences with others, or my ability to make sense of physical spaces, to solve puzzles, in effect, to design. Yeah. I would dump the design trait and keep the ability to communicate, because I think that ability is fundamental to function in society. I mean, our ability to be part of a community, part of a society, to be functioning contributor to that trumps our ability to design a living place. But I enjoy having both abilities.
Yeah.
Like, I like to solve design puzzles, but ultimately I need to communicate that solution to be it the client, be it the city, be it the builder. Without that ability to communicate, I'm just working in a silo, and nobody hires me to go solve puzzles in a closed up closet, right? Like, it's got to be shared with the world. Not to overstate, but I enjoy the communication part, the teaching part. Those things to me are synonymous.
So on that, actually this is a good segue into design part. The puzzle solving is one of those things where the client, homeowner, whoever you're working with, doesn't see the amount of work that goes into it. I'd love to take this opportunity to kind of communicate the amount of work that's actually involved when designing a project, whether it's a kitchen or whether it's going all out and doing a full passive house, start to finish. And a lot of that often doesn't even include interior design features.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people understand, including myself too, because I'm not the one doing it. I'm working with you and we have a lot of conversations, but there's a lot of work that needs to happen in the background. I'd love to shine some light on the work that designers like yourself or architects, whoever, people taking nothing and creating drawings out of it so that we can, as carpenters, can build it, shining some light on the importance of the work that they do.
The challenge, in a residential design project, frankly, any design project, is how multifaceted they really are. The problems that we're presented with, or challenges, if you prefer, are interconnected. And I think if you were to study any one of those parts of the puzzle independently, you could solve it pretty quick. But it's when you're trying to fit multiple pieces together that don't really fit as well as a jigsaw puzzle does. I mean, a jigsaw puzzle, when you set out to solve it, there's only one solution. It only goes together one way. The reality of the residential design process is that there could be multiple solutions to the same design challenge. You can get a program from a client, or a set of requirements for a new custom home from a client, and you could offer those to a classroom of aspiring young designers, or even professionals that have been in the industry for 20 years. And you could very well get as many solutions as there are people in the room that are equally valid, that are equally good. But like any other design form, any other art form, individuals are going to have preferences. I think a big part of what we do in our profession is try and interpret the desires of an individual. I mean, there are designers out there who do work for magazine covers, not necessarily for individuals. They may be hired and paid, they might be paid by individuals, but ultimately their goal is motivated by, can I get this on the cover of a magazine? Can I win an award with this?
And some people hire them for that.
Exactly. They're buying more product, whereas when they're working with me, especially teamed with you, I think they're buying a service that results in something that's really tailored to their individual needs. At the end of the day, I don't care if a project ends up on a cover of a magazine or not. That's not what drives me. I'm more interested in knowing that I've contributed to the creation of a space that someone is going to enjoy living in for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And I just haven't been in business long enough to know that my designs have been successful by that measure. I mean, we're getting close. We've crossed the decade now as Vert, and we're moving into towards 15 years. And so I'm starting to know clients. I've got clients just down the road here. One of the first whole homes that I ever designed, and they're still living in it and still enjoying it. For me, that's one of my measures of success. If I can circle back around, especially 5 more years into the future, and I can look back at homes that I've helped to create, see that the same original homeowners still living in them, to see the utility bills, be it water, electricity, and see that the homes are actually performing as we expected, and to just hear anecdotally from the occupants that they truly are enjoying the space and are happy about their decisions to work with me or work with us. I mean, that's really the measure. In my career, I haven't pursued industry awards as actively as others might, especially in the interest of business development. I would rather have people come to me saying, hey, I heard from a past client that they had a really good experience working with you. I want a similar kind of experience.
Can it be both that and the award?
I don't think it does necessarily need to be one or the other. But I don't pursue the other. I mean, I don't
they
pursue
came to you and said, I
awards.
want to win an award for this.
I might say, all right, I'm interested in winning an award too, but this is what I'm interested in winning an award for. My interests are first and foremost in creating homes that work. And I mean, I say that rather ambiguously on purpose, because what works for one person might not necessarily work for another. But the home's got to work. Part of working for many people includes it looking good, beyond it feeling good and it not consuming more resources than it needs to, etc. But I'm more interested in function than form. So we like to find a balance in design between form and function. But if ever I'm stuck in a place where I need to favor one versus the other, for me, function becomes the priority, the plan of all.
And at the end of the day, though, you're going to offer the suggestion to the client, and they could choose the form or the function. In which case, it's their choice.
Yeah. Somebody came to me and said, hey, I want to win an award. I want to create a beautiful home, but I want to create a beautiful home that also has these performance characteristics in terms of resource consumption or the types of materials that are used or where they came from. I mean, I would appreciate that challenge as an opportunity to do public education. Mm-hmm. Through awards and publicity comes exposure, and that exposure is great from my perspective if it's communicating the kind of messages, the kinds of experiences and information that I think is valuable in changing the stock of living boxes that are available to everyone.